how to use it, but how to implement it, okay? Because a lot of our graduates are going to work, even non-MIS major graduates from this college, get some SAP experience, and that looks good on a resume. Right here, I think this is one of the most telling stats. We teach Microsoft Office, okay? Word, Excel, PowerPoint, those are ubiquitous. They're everywhere, right? And they're everywhere because you can use them on your home computer too. You don't use SAP on your home computer unless you work for an SAP company or a company that uses SAP, but SAP is just as ubiquitous, okay? 46,000 companies across the world use SAP as part of their business, okay? And locally, the big industry here does as well, particularly SAP, but not only SAP, but other ERP systems as well. And so what we're finding is that when our students are going out on the job market and on their resume it says you have a certificate from the information systems department that you've taken 45 hours, I think, of SAP classes, that puts you at a higher level compared to your other competitors, right? And so what we're finding is that our MIS majors are getting better jobs, getting jobs because of that SAP experience, okay? So let me just sort of break it down. Since SAP is such a big part of what we do here, if you're new to MIS or you don't know what SAP is, let me kind of tell you a little bit about it, okay? Cindy talked earlier about business processes, okay? And essentially what SAP does is it automates business processes. Okay, well, what's a business process? Okay, so let's talk about sales and distribution. Let's put ourselves in the mindset of a manager at a company, okay? And let's, just for the sake of argument, say that this company sells pens, and those of you that are in my 4370 class will understand where I'm going with this pen analogy. Okay, so let's say you're a manager, you work for this pen company, and your whole purpose is to sell pens, okay? And so how does that sales process work, okay? You can't see that, but that just means that it says sales order entry. You're gonna get a customer call you up and say, hey, I need 1,000 of these pens, so sell them to me. And you say, okay, and you check to see if you have some in stock. You pick those materials out of your inventory, you take them out of the warehouse, you let the system know that you've taken those out of the warehouse, you send the bill to the customer, and you get payment from your customer. That's the process by which a sale happens at your pen company. Okay, so that's one process. Well, what about the production process? Let's say your customer says, you know what, I like those pens, but I need 10,000 more, not just 1,000, and you don't have that much in stock. You need to produce pens, okay? So let's go through this process. This says run MPS with MRP. That's a planning component of SAP that will look at current inventory, look at the outstanding orders and say, okay, you need to produce 10,000 new pens, okay? And so what's going to happen next is you're going to convert that into a production proposal. You're going to schedule the work on the shop floor, right? Your employees are going to get together and build these pens. Okay, we're going to send the warehouse notice that we've finished. Or excuse me, this is the finish. We're going to issue the goods so that we can build our pens. We're going to let the shop floor know that we're finished with the order. Okay, we're going to send those off to the warehouse, and we're going to make sure our quality is good. Okay, that's the production process. Okay, we have a similar, excuse me, we're going to settle the order. So we're going to finish that all up. This is all kind of like paperwork, right? All the files that we have to submit to make sure that we're all done. Okay, we have a procurement process. So let's say of those 10,000 pens, I'm out of the little ink cartridge thing, right? So I need to order these. Okay, so it's another process, right? Similar thing, purchase requisition, purchase order. Each of these processes has a defined set of steps that SAP integrates together and automates, so it all fits together. This is what SAP does. Okay? It automates a bunch of these steps so that when you click on the computer and you say, here's my sales order, 8 of these steps gets done automatically right now. Okay? And they all feed on each other. Okay? So what we do in this department is we teach you how to do some of these things, how to check the system for stock availability. But we also teach how to implement modules in that, how do you put a new customer into the system? Okay? How do you, if you decide you're going to sell a new kind of pen, how do you create that in the system? Okay? And that's the other component of that. And so let me tell you, we have the modules in each of the classes. In my 4370 class is the overview class, and we do a bunch of those modules, but we also cap it off with a sim game. It's like the strategy game, if any of you are in the strategy class. And what we do is we automate everything and let you make decisions as a manager would using SAP. Okay? So you get to decide on the pricing, you get to decide on how much marketing you spend, you get to decide how many you need to order in to keep up with your sales. And so you get the back end view of it, how you build it, how you work with it, and then you get the front end view of it. How do you make profit? How does it make your business perform better, more efficiently? Okay? So that's what, one of the things that that's the main focus of SAP. Okay? Again, these are the modules that are associated with the various classes. And then again, if you complete any 3 of these classes, okay, 1, 2, 3, there's 4 classes, you get a certificate from us stating that you have completed, is it 45 hours? 45 to 75 hours of hands-on SAP training. Okay? And we also offer training and testing for the TERP 10 as well, which is actual certification from SAP. All these classes will definitely help with that, but that's in addition on top of that. Okay, I think that's interns and scholarships. Okay, we provide part-time IT jobs and internships. Cindy talked about that Facebook page where you can find information about those things. But the other thing tying this to SAP is that SAP, every year over the last several years, has offered up to 15 $5,000 scholarships for the upcoming year. Okay? And for 2010, 2011, all the deadlines have passed, but I want to give you a few details about the 2011, 2012 academic year. If you're interested, you can start getting ready for those deadlines. The funds are intended to defray tuition costs, so you won't be able to use them for books or food or anything like that. The scholarship is made directly to the university, so if you get it and you qualify, they will just pay your tuition right up front. General eligibility, have to have a 3.5 GPA, and you can't have already used an SAP scholarship. The dates, at least for this last year, so they should be similar in the upcoming year. April 1st is when the deadline for applying. And there's a website. If you're interested, please come see me or email me and I can give you that information. But April 1st is the deadline to send in your application. So, you know, I know it's not even Thanksgiving yet, but before you know it, it'll be spring break and we'll be there, okay? And then August 1st is when notification happens, okay? So just one of the things that is important for us as a program is to teach you SAP, because our people who employ our students tell us that's what they need, that's what they want, and we've seen from experience that that helps our students get hired. So that's where I am, and Cindy has one.
I want to add one more thing about SAP. Nationwide, there are over 3,500 universities in the United States. Do you know that Lamar is one of 200 of those 3,500 that is a member of the SAP University Alliance, meaning being able to teach you SAP? That's why I said earlier that this really is becoming our core competency, because a lot of the big schools in proximity to Beaumont don't offer it. And 4 years ago, in Dr. Bandy's and my research of the local region, we surveyed with a questionnaire every one of the chemical plants and refineries. And do you know every one of them uses SAP except one. One of them uses Oracle. The others all use SAP, and they told us on this survey what applications they want new hires to know how to do. And they also said, we won't hire anybody from Lamar, regardless of their major, if they don't have hands-on experience with SAP. So that was our motivation for putting in this program back in the spring of 2006. Just wanted to give you the perspective of those statistics nationwide, and that that very few of us offer what we're offering here. Okay? And if you have any questions over anything about what he mentioned, what I mentioned, please feel free to ask us at any time. Now, the last part of the program is we have invited a former MIS student who graduated about 10 or 11 years ago, and she wants to share with you what she's doing in her job. And I'll let Dr. Flossie introduce her specifically, since she was the one that asked her to come. So I think you'll enjoy what she said.